So most people that do know you as the guy. When you think about luxury Las Vegas or any type of high-end real estate, they think Ivan Sher, Sam Coleman. What did it take for you to get here to be that?
God. And one of my favorite quotes from my former business partner who passed away was that. What was my favorite quote, Sam? What was my favorite quote? And it had to do with I'm only as good as my last transaction. There's a lot of hype in our industry.
Yep.
And so often people get caught up in the belief that we're as great as the media and as the people and the hype and all that. It's a moment in time. It's that. And I try not to take that seriously.
Yep.
What did it take? Everything. It took days, weekends, months, vacation time of just working. But the thing that I feel like I was able to hang on to is that for me it was, even when it was about the money, because the money portion of it came later for me, it was never about the money. It was about the client.
Okay.
It was about doing the right thing for the client, and it was about being authentic.
Yep.
And once I figured out that I'm not trying to be anybody else. There's some great agents out there, nationally, locally, what have you. They've all got their way of being. And if I try to be like them, the best I can be is a watered down version of them. If I try to be like me, no one can be like me.
Yep.
And so probably 10 years into it, I developed the confidence to like, you know what? I like where this is going. I like who I am. I like what's happening. And that I think is kind of who I've become and what I'm proud of.
So you would say it took you 10 years to become an overnight success at the bare minimum.
At more than 10 years. Yeah. 10 years and the right people.
Yep.
Thankfully, as I mentioned, my business partner who passed, Florence Shapiro, I got situated with her and our values aligned. And that's so key. And she was very serious and structured, and I'm goofy and not serious. And we just laughed and laughed and laughed. We did a lot of business, but we laughed a lot together.
So I'm 20 years old. I want to get surrounded by the right people. I don't understand what it takes to be successful, but I look at somebody like you and I want to learn from you. Where do I start?
It's a great question. It's not easy. I mean, I'd love to say, come sit with me. Let's spend some time together. And actually, I do that. As you know, the way our brokerage works, we don't bring on new agents. There's certain minimums that need to be met. But I meet with everyone that I can and talk to them, trying to hear what they're looking for and what their guidance is. What worked for me was joining a team. It was really important to have a core group of people around me that helped support and pick up where I fell short, which was the whole process, actually.
Yeah.
And typically in sales, we're not good with the paperwork and the details. And,
Lord.
Yeah. But the big picture, we're there all the time.
Yeah.
So get around people that are successful, not just. And this is a process. You don't know right away. Not just people that look successful, not just people that talk the talk, people that have the life that you want. The marriage that you want, the family that you want, the business ethics that you want, and that they surround themselves with people. And you can hear a lot about people with the people they surround themselves with. My dad told me early on, he's like, if you rub up against a stain long enough, you're going to get a mark on your shirt. So make sure the people you're rubbing up against are the right people and creating the right impact for you.
Yeah, I agree. There was a saying, if you hang around the barbershop long enough, you just might end up with a haircut. I appreciate that because I think, that there was another quote that I heard that said, I don't want to learn from someone that I wouldn't trade lives with.
Yeah.
And I think that has helped me get to, navigate, like, what am I trying to accomplish? And then how can I look at where are the examples that have what I want, and how can I take a path that could get me there and learn from those types of people?
And sometimes you find out that what you thought you wanted, it's not the same.
Man.
As a kid, you think you want the flash and the bling and the this and that. It's got nothing to do with it. And when you get older, it's like savings. I want savings for my family. I want my family to be happy. I want to be able to take vacations and have money in the bank after the vacation. I want to be able to pay my taxes. I want to be able to do all these things.
Yes, for sure.
So it changes.
Yeah.
We learn what's real and what's important.
Now that you're at a point in your life where we had a conversation the other day where I was asking you at a property, and the first thing that you said was, life is too short. How do you decide what things deserve your time versus not?
It's people. It's the good people. I mean, I have a really good tolerance for dealing with people and working through challenges and working through problems. But as soon as, and we all have that aversion of that. But as soon as I reach a point where it's just not worth it, life is too short.
Yeah.
And it's time to move on. And just graciously say, Sam, buddy, I appreciate you so much, but we're just not thinking the same. Why don't we go our separate directions?
Yeah.
In a contract or something. It's no big deal.
Yeah. I think, more is caught than taught. And I genuinely believe that I've learned so much just in the subtle ways that you conduct business.
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate that way of thinking, because as a young salesperson, you're like, I want the deal. And you really go beyond your threshold because you want the deal so much. But the one deal that you pursue that you probably should have let go cost you more in future opportunities because of how it consumed you.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. That's a great lesson to learn.
Yes.
And it's never perfect. I mean, we all sometimes get wrapped up in something and wanting it to come together, and sometimes hold on a little longer than we should. But for the most part, that's the direction I run my life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's been times where I felt like, man, I spent so much time on this deal. Now I'm like, I got to stick it out, because of, the opportunity and how much time I spent on it, without realizing that the future, if I continue, the best way to get out of a hole is to stop digging. Right. So just letting it go and moving on. That is an incredible lesson.
And also you're programming yourself. You're saying, this is okay. I'm able to tolerate this. I'm going to tolerate it every time. Versus, this is and I'm not sure there's a right or a wrong with this. Everyone has their own version. Florence, her win was in closing the deal. That was it. The win is in closing the deal. No matter how difficult the other person was, no matter how frustrating it was, her win was in closing.
We got the deal done.
My win is that to a point, and then I kind of take a step back.
Yeah. Gotcha. When do you remember your very first real estate deal?
Ooh. Yes. I remember writing my first contract, and I had no clue. This was in Tucson. I had no clue what I was writing. There was nobody in the office. I was supposed to be mentored. There's no one in the office. Wow. And I'm sitting there. I'm 24, 23, and I got this legal contract, and I'm writing it, and I'm filling in the blank and making stuff up. Got accepted. It was probably a $50,000 home. I had no clue.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And you got an offer accepted with no experience.
None, zero.
So you don't have to be great to get started, but you got to get started to be great.
100%.
That was almost identical to my very first transaction. I signed up with a national brokerage and joined their mentorship program. And 10 days after getting my license, I get a listing because I was driving for Uber. I hand the lady a business card, and they call me 10 days later after I got my license. And I was so excited. I remember running back to the office. Nobody was there to be found. And I saw an ad that said, "Are you tired of, did you sign up with a brokerage? And are you feeling alone and lost?" And I was like, yes, that's me. So I clicked the ad, scheduled an appointment, left that brokerage. And then that's how I ended up getting that first listing live. They helped me get it live. And I sold it 30 days later. And that was the moment that I was like, oh my gosh, this is real. Like, I remember looking at that $5,500 check like, oh my gosh, my life has changed forever.
How long ago was that?
That was in 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's a great story. Talking about first transactions, I'll never forget. Because as you know, my focus is in the luxury market. In Tucson, there was no luxury market. I mean, $200,000 was incredible, and there was a lot that was for sale. And let me think back. It was a home that I had for $220,000. And I get a call from this guy. It's right as the day's ending. He goes, hey, he goes, are you the agent? I said, yes. He goes, I've been saving up my money. He goes, I'm going to come buy this. I'm going to come buy this home. I said, great. He goes, where's your office? I said, why? He goes, I'm bringing the money. I said, you bringing the money? He goes, yeah. I said, my office is here. I gave him the address. He shows up. This poor guy, he brought $200. He didn't realize that the K was 1,000. And so then my conversation had to be in keeping him up. You know, hey buddy, listen, this happens all the time. Don't worry about it. We'll change our ad. You know, it's like,
oh my God,
crazy stuff. Yeah.
Can you imagine bringing $200?
Yeah. He's pulling the money out of his pocket and sitting down and putting it on the table.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I could not imagine 200. I would have been mortified.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But fast forward, now you're thriving and you're known as a real estate icon and nationally. How do you keep yourself at bay knowing that you have so much responsibility, so much influence, and so much opportunity at the same time? How do you divide your attention and also keep yourself grounded?
I spent the first 20 years of my career, maybe 25 years of my career, focused. Not, I have the shiny object problem.
Yep.
Okay. But I stayed focused. And that allowed me the opportunity to grow the way I did. After that time, when I opened IS Luxury, I realized that even though I wanted to stay focused, there's a broader thing to look at. There's the company, there's my volume, there's my agent's volume, there's coaching, there's all sorts of things. So I allowed myself to look in different directions relating to that. My success, what I learned also is I can't do it on my own.
Yep.
It's just not, there's no success. There's no person that made it on their own.
Right.
At least not anyone I've ever met. And so I've surrounded myself with winners in business and with a team that helps me every single day grow my business, stay focused on what I need to do, except for your and my appointment that I missed. Stay focused on the right things.
Yep.
And they kind of quarterback me. The calls to make, the people to reach out to, they help me. They actually act as my second and third and fourth brain. And then they structure me and take me from one step to the next.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it on my own for sure.
Yeah. That's incredible. I want to take a step back because I have a lot of young people that listen to this podcast. What was the first thing you bought with your commission check? Or any, like, early in your career, what was the first stupid thing that you bought?
Oh, so many stupid. They're all around cars and things like that. I mean, cars, watches. Part of the reason it took me so long to have money is because I spent my money when I got it. And if you spend your money, then you're not saving your money.
Yep.
And if you don't save your money, this business will eat you alive.
Yep. I can attest to that.
So I can't tell you exactly what my first purchase was, but I remember it took me a while to realize that the check that I got, didn't all belong to me. I mean, you got to put money away for the government, all sorts of things. And so I was just spending the money as if it was mine. Then all of a sudden I get this big tax bill. And I'm like, okay, I got to grow up.
Yep. And do you own anything that you purchased early on in your career? Any of the watches or anything?
No, none of that. It's just all come and gone.
Yep. Man, that's so incredible to think about because I resonate with that so much, as you know. And I've gone through this, I guess, grieving process of the growing up stage where I had a really hard, tough journaling confrontation with myself about all of the mistakes that I made around finances and opportunity and where I could be, but I didn't look at it as like and regret. I looked at it as this is my education. This is how much it cost me to learn the lesson. I could have gone to a university and got a doctorate, a PhD, and if I had done those things, sure, I could have a career in this scenario, but although I hate school for those that know me, but I could pay for a certain level of education, but I could experience at a certain level of education that will make me much more successful in the future. So that's how I tried to frame it. Also, not rationalize it, but frame it to say, hey, I did these things, I made these mistakes, but here, I'm 37 years old. If I live into 120 with technology and AI, if I can go to 120, I have so much more time to make up. And in the future, these things will have come and gone. This too shall pass. And if I can learn from these scenarios and expedite the process, now I have stories, experiences, and situations that I can help my future self, and then even other people that have gone through or going through what I'm going through right now.
Sam, it brings me to one of my favorite quotes, and that's that knowledge and experience are two different things. And it sounds obvious, but you can, ask Kara. You can go ahead and read a book on labor and delivery.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then see if what she goes through is any different than the book you read. Your experience, there is no greatness without falling. There is no greatness without recognizing the pain points in your journey. Otherwise, there's no growth.
Yeah.
Right? So this is your roadmap, what to do, what not to do, what to do better, what to do less of.
Yeah.
It is what is creating the fabric of your 40s,
Yep.
your family, and all of that.
It's so incredible. We work with some of the most incredible and successful people on the planet in this city. And I've learned so much from habits and thought process and speech and how they, decision making. What's been the most valuable lesson that you feel like you've learned from the clients that we work with?
Every day I learn from my clients. Every day. Some of the lessons are in negotiations. Had a client who, very long story short, we were going back and forth on a property. I was frustrated that this early on in the day, I was frustrated he couldn't quite get it. He's like, why isn't he moving forward? And I turned to him, I said, are you prepared to lose this transaction? He said, that's the right question. He goes, that's the question that you needed to ask me from the beginning. And the answer is yes, I'm prepared to walk. So I learned that from negotiation. I've learned business. I had no business skills, Sam.
Yep.
I kind of jumped in and fell on my face. And if it wasn't for, when Florence passed away, knowledge and experience, she's told me how to run a company.
Yep.
It was both of our company, but she was always in my ear. She wasn't in my ear anymore. I couldn't call someone and say, what's the right choice?
Oh my gosh.
What do I do over here?
Yep.
And I just sitting here, and the company started to spiral. Nobody knew it other than, a few close to me. Spiral. And finally, I turned to Mark Stark, who, as you know, is a dear friend and mentor of mine, and Pamela Fox. And they both said, Ivan, you can't run a company. Mark said, Ivan, let me teach you how to be a CEO.
Yeah.
Pam said, let me run the company. And so she grew. They said, you go out and sell. And over the next few years, I grew up.
Yeah.
I had to.
Yeah.
I had no knowledge in that arena.
Wow. So just to compile this incredible lesson of success, it took failure. It took others to see value that you didn't see. It took willingness to let go and be coachable and teachable. It took time and adversity.
Yeah.
So all of these things are key components in the recipe of baking the cake of success.
A part of it, yeah, for sure.
Wow. And if you had to think about what it was like during that time, like if you could go back to being in the thick of it, because a lot of people can't see past their nose. I mean, I'm one of those people. Like, you're in the game. Do you remember what it felt like being in it versus now on this side of it?
Totally out of control.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? I learned through that I didn't have self-confidence. I presented like I did, but I didn't have belief in self. And I thought that everyone was going to find out that I was just this, that it was Florence's company and we were going to fail. And everyone would know that it was Florence that was really the winner and that I was just this loser tagging along. That's the interior monologue. And slowly that began to change. Even as late, Sam, as when I opened up this company.
Wow.
IS Luxury. So that's 2 years ago.
Man.
So I'm sitting here thinking, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Everyone's saying, don't open up your own business. You're crazy. The market's tentative. Other people that are bigger than you in California and New York, they're with brokerages. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I don't have someone to answer it. And at that point, Mark, who was my mentor, was with Berkshire Hathaway.
Yeah.
So his advice, even though it was pure and honest and real, he was coming from Berkshire Hathaway.
Yeah.
Right. So I just didn't know what to do. And it wasn't until, I got a blood pressure medicine, all sorts of stuff that I never had to deal with.
Yeah.
But you make your decisions, and then you realize, okay, the key is to make a decision. Because I sat there in limbo waiting for something to happen. The key is to make a decision. Go with your gut. Your gut and any data you have, so more than your gut, but go with your gut, and then run with it.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Pam. I remember the day before. She goes, "Ivan, I'll support you whatever you do," because we didn't know if we were going to be a big brokerage name that was coming to town. We didn't know if we were going to be IS Luxury. We didn't know if we were going to go back to Berkshire Hathaway. All these opportunities were coming, and I said, "I'll let you know in the morning." And so we showed up, and that was when we opened our doors to IS Luxury. The team showed up. I said, "Welcome to IS Luxury."
Yeah.
And that was the start of it.
Wow, man, that's so awesome. And I resonate so much with the imposter syndrome and the lack of confidence.
Yeah.
It's so tough. I had this pride issue that in my mind, I went from being a low-level high school basketball player. I played junior varsity 3 years in a row. Couldn't even make I was only on the team because I was 6'6". And then I got to college, and I was like, man, I'm playing Division I basketball. I'm on TV. This is freaking crazy. And then I didn't think I would play professional basketball, but I always felt like I was always a step behind. Like I just didn't belong there.
Yep.
And then it was like, all right, I don't think I'm going to go pro. And then somebody taps me on the shoulder one day after a pickup game and says, hey, I really think my husband can help you. And that's how I started training like a pro. And then I ended up at the Toyota Center with Yao Ming. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, with the Houston Rockets organization. I'm like, dude, I'm with first round draft picks. I do not belong here. And then that's been like the story of my life. And then now I look, I remember the very first appointment that was over $3 million that I went on without you. And I don't know what happened. It was Midnight Sky.
Yeah.
That was the first one I went on. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like I felt like I'm going to mess this up, man. Ivan's not here. I don't know. This is the first home that I've ever even been in that was more than $3 million. This guy's going to figure me out. And it wasn't until I got done, I was like, man, I'm not shaking. He was just normal. He was tough, but like, it's okay. And I had to realize I had to get inside of myself and say, it's not them. It's not the external forces. It's inside of me. And I have it in me. I have to believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big thing to realize, but when you get it, everything changes.
Yeah.
It just does. And one of the keys to that for me was realizing that everybody starts out with the same and dies the same, right? And you're either born into money or you aren't born into money, you create money or you don't create money, but we're the same people, same child. I promise you, they've all had challenges like you and I have just had. The wealthy people, they've all had challenges that they have marriage challenges, they have business challenges, they have friendship challenges, they have personal challenges within themselves, relatability, trying to relate to themselves. And when I realized that, then I realized when I meet with somebody, it's just a conversation.
That's good.
Talking to somebody that's like me.
Yep. Yeah, I love when I can learn just in like your everyday life. I'm sitting here taking notes and I'm looking at this stuff and I'm like, man, this is so freaking cool. How cool is it that you can tap into the resources or clients that you have and you're like, man, they're just a normal, like, they put their pants on one leg at a time, just like me.
That's
right?
it.
It's so refreshing.
And thank you. And it's like the other part of it is, if you're dealing with people that don't have a lot of money, they have a different set of challenges when you're speaking to them.
Yep.
And so it's just about taking yourself out of it and listening.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah. What's one question agents don't ask that they probably should when it comes to wanting to get into luxury?
People ask me how I got started. People ask, what next steps should I take? I don't know how to say this, so give me a second. It's so easy to tie into somebody that you think is a mentor, and they aren't. they're and I'm the reason is why I'm like taking a step back before I responded is because there's so many great leaders out there that are salaried, not just commission.
Yep.
But so many of the others that are like managers. Okay. And I know you know the group that we have and how exceptional they are. So exclude them. But they're salaried and managers because they couldn't cut it in sales. And yet they're teaching sales courses.
Yep.
So it's rare to so I guess it's not necessarily a question as much as advice. That when you find that person or that company or that group, make sure that the people or person that you're following, they're not just regurgitating other people's information from what they think is true, but it's their experience and they're out there doing
Success parrots.
Success parrots.
Yep. Wow. So, man, I that's so interesting that you say that, because I get a lot of DMs and I get, even some backlash where people do reach out to me. And they're like, oh, I thought you were this type of person because you never answered my DM. I'm like, I'm too busy doing the thing that you're trying to learn from. I'm not just sitting around reading books all day. Like, I love to read, but I'm actually doing the thing that you want to learn. So I don't have time necessarily to just be responsive to every single thing. And I think my greatest lesson around coaching and mentorship has come from being able to surround myself with the right people and then being willing to learn and observe. Because I do believe more is caught than taught. And I think people, if most young people understood that what they see, like paying attention and being able to recognize what real success is, the lessons that they would learn would come from the observation and then application. Observation, then application. And then, hey, I've done this thing. Go to the successful person that you want to learn from. Hey, what do you think about this? And then observe, right? And then maybe there's a phone call. How is he picking? How did he answer the phone? How is he handling? Oh, he had his tough situation. Oh, who did he reach out to? How did he handle that situation? And in that scenario, you didn't give me the answers to the problem I'm trying to solve, but it was another little puzzle piece, because success leaves clues. And then this puzzle piece, it may not be for this season, but all right, I got a puzzle piece, and now I just need to find out where that lesson fits in my life. Yeah.
I think that's amazing. But Sam, honestly, your success, your personal success in business has come from in large part the fact that you're open and willing to listen and learn, and you're okay being wrong. I mean, we both know.
I'm always wrong.
We both know that if we're right all the time, there's number one, it's probably faking in our heads, but there's no growth if you're right. How do you learn? How do you grow from that, from being right? And I mean, just look at what your business has done just in the last couple of years. You're on this incredible path. And it's because you're like, Ivan, what do I do? How do I do it? Can you come with me? I remember the first time I'm like, Sam, bring me with you. And then you're like, okay. And next thing you know, you had a $9 million listing.
Yep.
And then you learn how to do that.
Yep.
So it's like you have a willingness to learn, which is 100% a part of why you're growing the way you're growing.
I appreciate that. And thank you
for
being so supportive.
Yeah.
If I had, do you ever think about, like, if you had the knowledge and resources and the people surrounding you now, maybe 5 years or 10 years prior, do you feel like that would have been an advantage? Or if you'd have gotten the success too soon, you wouldn't have been ready for it?
I think it would have been an advantage. But at the same time, I believe everything happens the way that it should and in the timing that it does. What I mean by that is 5 years ago, I had the people, had the same people. And I personally wasn't ready to make that step. So I couldn't do it. And then all of a sudden, I became ready through life experiences, through business experiences, through the people around me growing with me. And then it just became the natural next step. So maybe the answer to the question is, I would not have been ready because I wasn't. Right?
Yep. So are you familiar with the philosophy be, do, have?
Yes.
So you've said it a couple times, and
have, do, be.
Yes. Most people struggle with the, once I have the people, once I have the luxury listings, once I have the money, then I'll do the things that I'm responsible for. I'll be more, I'll create the budget, and then I'll be the mentor that everybody that in my neighborhood or my city wants me to be. Can you talk a little bit about how important it is to become the person that is capable of doing the big listings and then having the money and having the success and all the things that we want?
Right. If you live in a have do be world, no, be do have do be. If you live in a have, once I have this, then I'll be that. Once I have that, then you're constantly psychologically pushing it out, because you're saying once that happens, meaning it hasn't happened yet. But once I internalize the fact that I am. Earlier you said someone you trade lives with. I wouldn't trade lives with anybody.
Right.
There's nobody I would trade. There are people that have better at every component, but I would never trade lives with anyone because I have the life, and I've always had the life, even when I didn't. I have the life that I've always wanted.
Because it's yours.
Because it's my life, and because I control it,
Yep.
and because I'm growing it, and
So good.
and that's it. It's we live with, if you're continually pushing out who you want to be, what you want to have, when you're 70, 80, 90, you'll still be doing that and life will have gone by. So you want to live your life, and you want to live your life as if your life is, you've had everything you want, and then you will have everything you want.
Now, someone that is older than you.
Are there people that are older than me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I gave you a 20-year-old, that's trying to learn, but I believe that we all should be continually learning. It's a lifelong journey. But someone that's older than you, I won't disclose your age.
55. I'm 55.
But somebody that's older than you, let's say somebody that's in their 60s, right? They may have come into money and they spent their entire life with things being done for them, or maybe they haven't learned yet. How do you feel that you could teach somebody that is in that position, but they have you just in age?
It's not an age thing for me.
Okay.
It's a willingness to learn.
Okay.
If that person is like a you, 60s, 70s, whatever, somebody that's willing to learn, 100%.
Perfect. So a 65-year-old real estate agent, let's say now life circumstances have left them on their own. And they're like, well, I'm healthy as a clam and I have another 40 years to live. What am I going to do in my life? I don't think I'm going to get into real estate. What would be the advice that you would give them?
I'd ask them questions.
Like what?
I'd ask them why they want to do real estate.
Okay.
And I'd listen to the answer. I'd ask them what their expectation is with real estate. I would share some of my experiences relating to expectations. I would ask them questions about, I'd want to make sure that they're financially sound, because as you know, to get started in real estate, it doesn't happen. It's not like in the movies,
right,
or the TV shows, right? It takes 6 months to a year that you need to have reserves. And I just ask them, and I'm really, when I'm doing that, there's two things that's happening. Number one, I'm looking at their fortitude.
Yep.
I'm looking to see how they see themselves in the world, and I'm looking for, hey, Ivan, I have so much gratitude for my life. I want to connect with people in a different way. Real estate, I've always had a passion in real estate, or I've always loved real estate. I've always been fascinated by real estate. I'm looking for people that are come from abundance. And if they're one of those people, then it'll come through in the conversation, and I'll say, Sam, we can do this. Or I'll say, Sam, if you're not, I'll say, Sam, you know what? Here's my suggestion. And I'll try and point out other things for them to focus on, even if it's with another brokerage.
Yeah.
I'll point them in that direction.
Awesome. And you've done that even with clients. How do you, at what point did you get, like, how did you get there? Like, I feel like that's what I struggle with, and it seems like it's so easy for you.
Are you talking about when I'm with a client and it's not a fit or something, or guiding the client?
Guiding the client, or if it's not a fit, or even you meet a person and let's say a lot of people want to work with me. I'm not just saying that because I think I'm God's gift to real estate or I'm anything special, but there's a group of people that look up to me. I don't know why, but they do. And then it's tough for me I feel like I want to help everybody because somebody helped me. Yeah. Right. How do you know to say no, or to redirect? And
that is a tough thing, but think about when you're on an airplane. Yeah. They say you put your own oxygen mask on first before you put on for your kid.
Yeah.
So meaning if I don't have the ability, because I'm spread so thin, because I'm talking to everybody, where I'm not able to grow my business and give accurate advice, then I'm hurting them and I'm hurting myself.
Correct.
So that conversation for me, and it's like, it is easier now for me, but I mean, look at our hockey team, right?
Yeah.
And look at them on skates. And have you put on skates, Sam?
They don't make skates my size.
Yeah, I believe that. But even if they did,
Yeah.
they need to have like I would imagine like styrofoam all around to protect you.
Oh, for sure.
Bubble
wrap me.
But look at these people. But after a year or 2 years or 5 years, it'd look easy.
Yeah.
Because it's what you do.
Yeah.
I think I just made the decision early on that I enjoy people. I enjoy helping people. I enjoy working with people, good people, right? And I come from a position where I solve problems.
Yeah.
And when something comes up, it's like, oh, Sam, don't worry about the home warranty. We're gonna handle that over here. Let me show you what we're gonna do over here. It's finding that solution that's a win.
Yeah.
Validating how they feel, understanding that we've all been there.
Yep.
And let me show you what I found. Just helping them through that process.
Yeah. Yeah. You're a great problem solver.
Thank you.
I am so happy we got to do this. And like I said, I always learn. I have all these notes. If you could give advice to the real estate industry itself, like what needs to change from NAR to how interest rates have happened and tariffs and all this stuff, you're like, how do I navigate this? But you want to announce this to the entire world. What's that thing that's on your heart? Like, this is what we need to see in the real estate industry as a whole.
It's even more basic than that, because we can spin off for an hour on each of those topics.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's for me, if you want to succeed at anything, you can't be transactional. You have to be about the person. Remove yourself from it. There's so many times we'll sit down and a client will come back to us and say, Ivan, you can't show the house on Monday between 1 and 5 p.m. And I get this incredible buyer and I'm like, why can't, and then absolutely not, you can't do it, can't show it. Why can't they see it? Why can't they see it? It's not why they can't see it. It's why I can't see what's important to them. They have something that's more important to them that's going on. And oftentimes it's shocking. Oftentimes when things like this happen, there's real issues that come up down the road and you didn't know about it, whether it's marital or health or what have you. And they're just not comfortable enough talking about it.
Yep.
So you got to remove yourself from it. You do your best, you share with them, you give them the option, and then you realize it's not about you.
Yep.
And that's, as soon as we realize that in real estate, in politics, in religion, in anything,
Yep.
the world is a better place.
That's incredible. That's incredible. So let that be the first response, not the last resort.
Yeah.
The first response to adversity and dealing with people, regardless of the industry, is people first, transaction second.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then most of the time people get to like, oh man, my transaction is falling apart. Now they care about the person so much and it's too late.
It's too late.
Yeah.
Because they're not caring about the person.
Yeah. They're trying to do whatever they can to save the deal.
And we've all been there.
Yep. For sure.
We all get that, right? But what ends up happening is when you do it enough, then your business will grow. You'll have the right people around you. They will refer the right people to you.
Yep.
And you'll be able to grow your business. And then the money doesn't become a part of it.
All right. How would you, last question before I let you go, how would you like to see do you ever plan on retiring? Let's start there.
God, I say yes, but I don't think I ever could.
Okay.
It'll be a different version. I always want to be involved with people and working and doing entrepreneurial stuff. I always want to do that.
What does the end of Ivan Sher's selling production career look like?
Big party.
Big.
This
is my last deal. I'm going out with a bang.
It looks like it's a great question, Sam. It looks like everyone in my company, most everyone, are millionaires. And I say that the money becomes a byproduct of the success, meaning everyone has worked through their challenges. I've helped people grow beyond what they could have helped on their own, would have done on their own. My agents, and most of them are in this camp already, but all of my agents don't have to worry about financial stresses, and they're doing the right thing, and we're all involved individually in the philanthropies and causes that are important to us, so we can become better people and impact the world in a greater place. At that moment, I can take a step back.
Yeah. Awesome. That's incredible. Do you see? Do you have a time horizon for when you like to see that happen?
What time is it?
About 15 minutes.
You know what? I've always said probably by the time I'm 60 or early 60s, there'll be a shift in how I do business. We'll see if that happens or not.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate it. Where can people find you? What's the best way for people to learn more about you, do business with you, or get to know the real Ivan Sher?
You know what? It's as simple as picking up the phone and calling.
Okay.
On my cell, you can post that or what have you, or you can DM me.
Yep.
I enjoy meeting people. I enjoy talking to them, giving whatever guidance I can, and watching people grow, because it's so interesting. It could be nothing. It could be a conversation that I've had with you, that I sit down with somebody else and they sit and it sticks with them differently than you, or vice versa. I just love to help. I mean, reach out to me on social media, DM me, whatever you need to do.
Yeah, awesome. This has been absolutely incredible. If you are new to the D League, the devoted league, devoted to sales, devoted to your family, devoted to life, building a life worth living, that's what this community is all about. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next episode. Make sure you click the link in the description below to listen to another episode. And like I always say, don't let us be more devoted to your success than you are to your own. I'll see you in the next one.